Today is Saturday, May 24th, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for the Survivor 48 finale.
Time to wrap it all up. Gonna put a big fat bow on 48.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, what an interesting season. I am looking forward to hearing what everyone thought about the finale, the season as a whole, how they're thinking about maybe some insights into what they saw with 49, all that good stuff. And we got a whopper here to go out on, huh?
Yes, we do. You know, after we rewatched it, yes, we rewatched all of it.
Even stopping, pausing, and having conversations about what we saw.
Still talking in between. Pause. Yak. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we did do that, yes. I kind of actually enjoyed it. I think a little more rewatching it and going, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's good. That's so I'm glad we rewatched it, because sometimes when we're busy taking notes and this and that, I feel like, we miss reactions and this and that. So
yeah,
it was nice to just watch it and not have to take notes or anything like that, and just sit back and observe a little bit more, I think. And because going back through again, I didn't have the same anxiety. It's like
you mean in the challenges?
Emotion didn't bother me as much. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? I could just relax, and because I knew what was going to happen, and just really observe a little more, I think. So when we got done rewatching it, I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, that's good, I guess.
I mean, not that I don't think that I still would have liked more out of Kyle and Camilla of telling their story. But
we'll talk some more about that along the way.
Yeah, sure.
I'm anxious to hear what the super fans thought.
Absolutely. Let's kick it off with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. And I'm sorry, Stacy. USB. Pete getting voted out as Final Five. But I love Mitch. He was super likable. But this was an awesome finale, guys. I loved it. I really did. So I'm going to let out a great big... Someone get me a bottle of champagne with a glass of milk. Thank you, David. But no, guys, this was an awesome finale. So now, Mitch's vote was by far the most predictable thing. And it was sad because we all really loved Mitch. Just too likable with the jury. Camilla, how about her coming back and winning that Final Five immunity? That was epic. But really, I want to talk about Kyle, though, and his game. Winning that Final Four challenge and willing to get rid of his number one, and seeing that he had to do that in Camilla by forcing her to make fire against Steve, which ended up proving to be the right move. It's Eva, you got to give her credit, despite her emotional issue there, the autism, all that she's gone through all game in her life, winning that fire-making challenge and beating Camilla. Poor Camilla tried, and it was sad. She couldn't get her magnesium going to fire it up. It was great watching her. I would love to see her play again in a future season. I mean, I don't think she'll be on 50, but I'd love to see Camilla play. And hats off to Kyle. Great jury management, great beach. I love that he finally said he was a lawyer, which he said he was going to do, and it caught everyone by surprise, even Joe and Eva. And I think what really helped him win for sure was when he owned the Shahin vote, how it was him and Camilla were the best pairing, not Joe and Eva. It was amazing how Kyle and Camilla were able to swarm their way all the way to the end, and Camilla came within a fire-making challenge of making it that far. So great job, Kyle, getting 5 votes. And I was shocked, guys. I gotta hear what everyone else thinks. Eva got 2 votes. We said it for the longest time that she was gonna be the third runner-up with 0 votes. And it was Mary and Star. I didn't think either one of them would vote for her. I mean, I thought Star may vote for Joe. Mary might vote for Kyle. The only vote for Joe was Cedric. But Cedric had good reasoning, being an older person like himself and a family man. Hey, you can't go wrong with that. But it was an awesome finale. It was by far the closest vote, I think, in the new era. David's putting on that serious face. Even Probst's getting timid. That was funny, too. So it might have not been the best season of the new era 48, but I loved the last 2 episodes. Now 49, I think it's going to get overshadowed with Survivor 50 and the returning players. I think they're going to reveal them next week on May 28th. But a great season, though, for sure. Survivor 48, solid, and congrats, Kyle. Take care, everyone. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete. I like your positivity, and I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it so much.
I think it'll be nice to hear who's going to play in 50, but I don't want to let it overshadow 49 myself. So, I think when 49 comes, we're just going to focus on 49 and forget about 50 until it gets here as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to enter. I can't even watch, other survivors when we're right. I have to focus on one. I can't.
We limit
don't
it. Yes.
multitask well.
Yeah. Well, this is truly a part-time.
Or I get them confused.
This
it's
is a part-time job. The amount
of
of time that we put in when we're podcasting about a Survivor season. So yeah, there's not a lot of room for more Survivor for us, at least.
Job implies pay. So it's
okay. A full-time hobby then.
A full-time hobby, yeah.
If it's not a part-time job, yeah. Okay.
But no, that's. But yeah, we were just saying, oh gosh, what would we do with us? Our Saturday next week.
We get Saturdays back, yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that. Let's check in next with Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling with my feedback for the finale. I just finished the episode. I haven't even listened to the recap yet, but I wanted to get some thoughts in. I'm glad Kyle won. I think he was the most deserving of the final 3 and the one with the best strategy. I personally would have maybe preferred Camilla, but I don't know if she would have had a path to get there. And I do think if her and Kyle were in the final, it wouldn't have been the best for either of them. So I give them both props for realizing they needed to sit next to Eva and Joe. Skipping ahead to Final Tribal Council, I found it quite underwhelming and very unserious and also short. I don't know if that was just me because I had to pause it part of the way through, but I felt like it went really quick and there wasn't a lot of back and forth. But yeah, it just felt very unserious to me. It felt like they were just joking back and forth and there wasn't a lot of deep conversation about the game or strategy. And maybe that's because there wasn't a lot of deep strategy this season, unfortunately, or there was, but it was concentrated with a few players and wasn't necessarily super highlighted in the production, in the actual show and what was broadcast. A surprise for me in Final Tribal Council was Eva being a little bit more of a standout than I thought, and Joe being a complete back burner, very little feature in the Final Tribal Council after being heavily both featured in the show and talked about amongst the cast during the season. Thought that was interesting. I'm glad that people got to hear all the incredible things that Eva does with her job and with her life and how far she's come. It is truly, truly commendable. And I can't even wrap my brain around the things that she is studying. So good for her. And speaking of that moment at the breakfast where she comes out and shares her background and her job and her place in academia, and then Kyle shares more of his background, and then Joe's eyes just completely bug out of his head when he realizes his honesty and integrity alliance wasn't so honest now, was it? So I just found that to be a little funny moment. Back to Final Tribal Council. I mean, the reveal, the Shahin vote reveal and all of that was very satisfying. That was probably the only exciting moment in all of Final Tribal. I was very, very annoyed when the question was literally asked, what is a secret you've been keeping in this game? And after talking constantly about their secret duo, Kyle and Camilla, the secret Kyle reveals is not about his secret duo with Camilla. Obviously, he ties it in later, and I actually really like the line of, respectfully, I think we were the better duo, we were the more strategic duo, because I do agree, but to keep all of that and then share like a different secret that could have come up in a different way, I don't know. On the viewer side, I found it very unsatisfying and frustrating. Obviously, for him, that was a big deal because it's actually about his actual life and who he is. Anyway, didn't love the season, pretty boring and predictable, but I do really like Kyle, so good for him, and I think he played a great game. Have a great summer, everybody, and we'll see you in the fall. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Christiana.
You know, the thing about Kyle that I noticed throughout the season is that he really would wait for the right moment. And for some reason, I think he was waiting for the right moment to where it would have the most impact. And it happened to be Camilla gave him that, but I think he would have stepped up even if she hadn't been, connecting with him like, yeah, I got you, and ask him the question. I think he would have worked it in.
Oh, yeah. They had agreed in general to be there for each other
right
in the final tribal council in terms of being supportive of the other.
Yes.
I think the biggest shocker is Camilla said, in some of her exit interviews, she didn't tell the jury anything. She didn't go into it, so she wanted it to be the big reveal, the big surprise. So she actually held back. Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Lisa Rae in the UAE. Hi, everyone. I've not been good this season with getting in feedback, but I certainly enjoy hearing what you all have to say every week. I believe it really helps me to decide my picks, and as a result, I've been doing well with JSFL and especially in the side challenge. How in the world did I end up on top? I remember my first season in JSFL where I spent the majority of the side challenge in the basement. I had an auspicious beginning to JSFL this season by choosing Shahin as my USB, but I left the page before clicking submit.
Happens.
When the time came to choose a new USB, I pondered over Kyle or Camilla and went with Camilla in the end. I still chose Kyle for the win. My final 5 lineup must have put me over the top because I got it all correct and I didn't let second guessing change my picks. Before episode 13, I predicted a Camilla comeback story for the immunity challenge. Wow, did she ever finish that puzzle fast. And if this happened, that meant Mitch would go first. I was glad Mitch got an emotional send-off, but it was just another one of those votes this season. I get why Kyle brought Joe and made Eva and Camilla make fire. The frustration of both Eva and Camilla as they practiced in the afternoon was palpable, and we saw them both overcome their frustrations in different ways. The fire-making challenge itself was heartbreaking for Camilla, but I was also very happy for Eva's victory in the end. I had a giggle at Joe on the final morning when Eva and Kyle revealed their actual achievements and occupations. His big, shocked eyes, and I'm still just a fire chief, still makes me smile. I was hoping for more of a big reveal of Kyle and Camilla's partnership and the moves they made during tribal council. Yeah, we were too. I thought Eva articulated herself very well and that Joe seemed more subdued. I'm happy with the overall result of the season. Overall, I enjoyed the season. Any survivor's better than no survivor. Amen. Well said. I'm already looking forward to season 49. My song pick for the side challenge is Stuck in the Middle with You, sung by Steelers Wheel. I love classic rock, and I think some fun things can be done with the lyrics. Take care. Thanks, Lisa Rae. I think that's an awesome choice for the song.
And I think it's a message for everyone that I say this every season. It doesn't matter what your score is going into the finale. you still have a chance. You know, and
The game's designed that way. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that about it. So, and the winner was of JSFL this season was also surprised.
Yeah, we'll hear from
Came
him
from
shortly.
behind.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Lisa Rae. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. Before I give my feedback on the finale and season 48 as a whole, I just want to give a congratulations to Todd for winning in the Fantasy League and Lisa Rae for coming on top of the side challenge. I must say, going into the finale, I was really worried I was going to find myself in the basement, but thankfully I made some good picks, especially with picking Kyle as a winner. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Joanne for her absolutely monstrous score in the Fantasy League. You did really awesome this year. And I think that with a score like that, you should be obligated to join the side challenge next year. And I know that Stacy would be more than happy to help you write a parody song if you lose. I think that would be fantastic. So overall, I thought that the finale was pretty good. I didn't care for the after show, but that's been kind of a common theme in recent years. But the finale itself I thought was pretty good and definitely redeemed the season to a certain degree. I know a lot of us have mixed feelings on this season. I think the cast was good. I think it's just the way the season was edited, the type of game that was sort of being played, and just like almost just being teased constantly with, we need to make a move, we're the best secret alliance, over and over and over, and nothing's happening, and I think it just leads you to feel let down. But I think overall, I enjoyed the season. It could have been better, but hey, watching it with you guys and commenting on it just makes it that much better. I think Kyle overall is a pretty good winner. I really like guys like Kyle that have a good, well-rounded game, a good social game, strategic and physical. I think Joe played a great game as well, and I don't think he gets enough credit for the social bonds that he created. Like, even when he didn't have immunity, people didn't vote him out because they just liked him that much, so I think that's great. And it seemed like he was so close to be able to pick up on some of these things, like the play that Camilla and Kyle played on him with the Shahin thing, and he knew that they might be lying to him, but he didn't quite get it. And still, I think Joe played a really great game. I thought at the final tribal council that Joe would end up maybe getting 2 or 3 votes. Eva might get 1, but I was a bit surprised that Eva got more votes. But I think she did a better job at the final tribal council performing for the jury than Joe did, and I think it was just the type of game that she played and her personal character and stuff that led her to get a couple of votes. But I think it was a really good ending to the season. Season 49 looks somewhat interesting. I think from the preview, I'm going to predict that there will be a female winner. I just got much better vibes from the female players. I have to say that season's going to be completely overshadowed with season 50 and all the hype surrounding it, but I'm still excited for 49, especially because the best part is being able to come on this podcast and talk about it with all of you guys. And that's it for me. I hope that everyone has a great off season. I'm getting ready to run my first half marathon this weekend in Ottawa, so I'm excited for that. But I look forward to hearing everyone else's voices, and I'll talk to you again in the fall. You guys just take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert.
All right. Good luck.
Yeah, that is quite an accomplishment.
Thank you for the comments. I appreciate that. And nice try, Robert. But you're not getting me in the side challenge. That was undue stress.
She has ample anxiety just trying to make her pick. I can't imagine what that would look like.
See, Stacy doesn't even want me in the side challenge.
I welcome you to the side challenge, and I would indeed help you if you had a need to write the song.
I wouldn't let you. I'd be just like Eva. No, I have to. It's my debt. I have to pay it. I wouldn't let you. So,
okay.
So,
yes.
See, I would take that over seriously.
But the week-to-week anxiety just is a non-starter.
Nope, not even tempted.
Yeah, you have no idea the current struggle.
No, thanks.
Yeah. And Robert did have a follow-up question he had in his email. He said he's also curious if you guys had to pick someone from this season to see play again, who would you like to see? Maybe even on season 50. And he says he would love to see Thomas. Felt like he had so much potential in the game. Totally understand that.
Yeah, that would be my choice as well.
He would be at a disadvantage, though, because people would have this perception of him as the evil guy of throwing away Star's clue, or willing to be the villain, and that awesome villain laugh that he had.
Still, there's not enough information about his game that I think there's going to be too many other people that they do know more about the game, and so I think Thomas would be okay.
He'd be able to
if he were
manage.
in 50, yeah.
I think he's certainly smart enough to figure out a way, but he would get labeled pretty quick. He would be pigeonholed as a villain.
Yeah, I would just like to see what he could do, because we thought...
Is that your pick too then, Thomas?
Oh, yeah, totally. And you and I had talked about that before. We always said Thomas, but...
Well, Camilla immediately comes to mind too, but she's got the same things working against her of it's the bus driver.
They know her
Camilla.
game now.
Yes.
And so she's not going to slide under the radar as much
Right.
as before, I don't think, but maybe her social game would take her. But the thing with her is she's so tiny and she's so small, a lot of times they want the physical people kept in for the challenges. And so the small, non-athletic people have to get to the point where that doesn't matter anymore.
But she is the puzzle goddess, so she would be really valuable to any tribe for those portions.
I'm sure I would enjoy seeing her play as well.
What about Shahin?
Yeah, I like Shahin, and Shahin would be okay too.
And Mitch? Everybody loves Mitch.
Everybody does love Mitch, and he was so awesome in the early challenges.
When he was pulling the boat with 4 people,
yeah,
I never expected him to be in that role physically.
Yeah, but he just couldn't seem to,
He missed out on an alliance. He really needed a better alliance, and I think that he would be able to lock in on that. I think if he got another opportunity.
Well, if he had been with the other group and not with Charity to start with in that tribe, in the old Siva,
right,
it might have been better. Anyway, we digress.
Well, anyone you thought for 50?
I just said Thomas.
Thomas for 50. Okay. So and real quick, no on Joe for 50, no on Eva. I'll be fine not ever seeing her play again. And Kyle, I saw everything I want to see from Kyle right now, so definitely not on 50. I guess I'd like to watch Shahin again. I think he could bring it for 50. And I don't know that these others necessarily could.
Yeah, I'm up for more Shahin.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with my feedback for the finale of season 48. And I agree with both of you. It was a little lackluster. It seemed like Joe and Eva and Kyle all just kind of ran out of steam when they got to plead their case at the final tribal council. I mean, truly, I can't imagine what it would be like to go through those last completely frantic days, how emotional they are. But they just all seemed low energy. And truly, it reminded me of the season when Ben won, and he tried so hard to get to the end, but then when it was time for him to plead his case, he just really fell flat. And it was actually members of the jury who said to him, "Come on, man, you got more, you can do better, really give it to us." And then he sold his case and he won. Joe didn't seem to have that much to say, which I found interesting. I actually really liked everything Eva had to say, but even when Kyle revealed how he and Camilla had been working together so closely at the amazing move against Shahin they pulled off, it kind of fell flat for me. I was expecting it to be so much more pizzazz. And I've had a moment where beyond the shocked look on Joe and Eva's faces where they realized they had been had, I didn't know if it had landed the way it needed to land with the jury to get him all the votes. But thinking back on the finale and that he got so many votes, and of course Camilla sitting there beaming at him from the jury and mouthing, "I've got you." I think a lot of his win had to do with Camilla really greasing the wheels at Ponderosa and fully explaining to everyone, yeah, we were together the whole time. Kyle pulled amazing moves. And yes, he did. I didn't see him sell it to the jury, but I watched it during the season. And based on the fact that he had to fight and twist so hard to get to the end, he fully deserved to win. I tanked at JSFL. I was 4 points away from losing the side challenge and being the one to sing a tune. I actually messed up my order. I had Joe first just based on I liked him. I had an emotional connection with him. I wanted him to win. I didn't know if he would, but I was like, whatever. I'm just going to put in who I want. I have no idea what's going to happen at the end. I had Ava second, but somehow I mixed it up, and that's not what I put in. That's what I thought I put in. So the only one one I had right in the order was Mitch. You know, Drew is the only one with the true talent in this group to really wow us with a parody song, so I would have been scared at my attempt. I love Ava's entire performance this season. I feel like it does so much for people who are struggling with autism, who are on the spectrum, who are neurodivergent, to show you can go out there and really accomplish anything. And again, she had me with her grit and determination to get through fire making. I found that to be incredibly inspiring. I am going to miss everybody as we go into the off season. It's so exciting when the finale hits, and it's always so bittersweet for me because it means no more podcasts, no more Facebook discussion, and I can't wait till we're all back in September. It was a great season, Joanne. I am so happy for you that you're USB 24 won, and thank you for all that you do. I'm going to take my French final law exam today, and then I am done with my language requirements for my BA, and I have one more literature class starting in 2 weeks. Then, when we talk again, I will be a college graduate. Hooray! Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
All right.
All right. Good luck, Rebecca.
Yeah, good job. Next up, got an email from Erin in SoCal.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I have to say that I am shook. I opened JSFL and found my name was listed second.
Good job, Erin.
I nearly fell out of the chair. This is my first season playing, and I never expected to tie for second place. I have listened to your podcast religiously for the last couple of years, but have never participated in the listener feedback. So here goes nothing. Overall, this season was not memorable. Perhaps that's why I found it to be overproduced, over-edited, and lacking finesse. I really felt that production either didn't tell us the whole story or pushed towards certain results.
Yeah.
The Voodoo tribe appeared to be mismatched from the very beginning. I just have to wonder if they do that on purpose.
I'm with you, Erin.
Yep, me too. Also, some journey challenges appeared to be non-optional, where votes were lost while another journey in the middle of the night appeared to be a literal walk on the beach, where an extra vote was gained without effort. Lastly, I really think that Mitch going out fifth enabled them to tell a story. Two power duos left in the game, one public, one secret, etc., etc. Plus, I also don't know if Eva could have honestly survived without Joe.
Yeah.
It
I'm
just
with you.
didn't seem like Mitch fought too hard or that anyone was willing to break up either duo. I hope this doesn't come off too negatively because in the end, the best person did win. I have really enjoyed JSFL. It gave me a little extra excitement while watching. Thank you for this whole community. Have a great summer. All right. Thanks, Erin. And I agreed with absolutely everything you said.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah. Glad you had so much fun playing JSFL, and thanks for joining us for some feedback.
I too was shocked at second, but I was just so much more excited that I'd actually guessed the right USB 24. That's just such a rare occurrence.
Pure luck, though. So
Well, yeah, but
getting the orders
hey,
different. It's based on something.
that's what
Yeah.
makes it more exciting is that you don't. I don't.
It is an X factor.
expect-
Yes.
I just don't expect to get it right.
Right. Good deal. Thanks again, Erin. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my survivor friends. Here is a big hello from Kanazawa in Japan. And thank God I have VPN so I could log on to my Channel 9 app, and I just finished watching the finale after a long day of sightseeing. So happy to see Kyle win, though I think I would have been much happier with the Camilla win, but still Kyle was a good win as well, and that was a satisfying end to a season where it started off so well and then we did have a bit of a snooze fest in the middle. But I'm so glad I didn't have to wait and I managed to watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed the finale, and I think the best moment for me was seeing Camilla win in the final immunity challenge and how she came back from behind, and she was just so lost, and I just kept cheering her on, and I just thought, please win, and that was so satisfying. On that note, that season is over, and I think my favorites in this season are definitely Kyle, Camilla, and my USB Shahin. Can't wait for the next season. Everybody have a wonderful break and keep safe, keep well. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for this wonderful community. Thank you, guys. God bless.
Cheers. Thanks, Rashmi. Appreciate you being able to make some time to get feedback in while you're on vacation in Japan.
Have a great time.
Cool stuff. Next up, we got a call from Sandi.
Hi guys, this is Sandi from Atlanta. I have been out of town for several weeks, so I missed a lot of Survivor, and I just wanted to say that I came home and binge watched like 3 episodes of Survivor, and I was bored. I've never been bored before. There was no moves, there was no idle play, there was no blind sides, there was nothing except some guy in the jury standing up when somebody got voted out. I seriously thought he was going to rip his shirt open, but that's just me. This is not one of my favorite. But I like that Kyle won, and he's the only one that made a move. That's why. And I loved how when Eva was trying to take credit for it, Kyle was nudged to tell the story. And I think that's what swung the votes. But you could tell everybody was sort of even. There wasn't a last tribal council where one person was just, duh, they were going to win, or duh, they were a goat. Is this the way the new season's going to go? Because, not happy at all. I like gameplay, I like strategy. And you know, somebody asked me the other day, why do I watch reality? And I said, well, because it's normal people that are not doing what I think they ought to do. And that's fun for me. Okay, I hope everybody has a great summer. Stay cool. And if you're ever around Atlanta, let me know. Okay, guys, talk to you soon. Have a great summer. Oh, and I hope your niece is doing well.
She is doing very well. Still in physical therapy, but she's doing well.
Excellent. Thanks, Sandi. Enjoyed that. Next up, got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor friends. The finale was, well, a finale of Survivor. Once again, the emotional Joe and Eva storyline seemed like the core of the episode. While their relationship was beautiful and inspiring, I watched Survivor for dynamic gameplay. Otherwise, I'd tune in to the Lifetime Network.
I like that.
Yes. It's got some teeth, but I agree and enjoyed that. Thank you. Thankfully, we had Camilla and Kyle in the finale to save it. I was really cheering for Camilla to pull it out, but I'm still happy to see Kyle crowned as the new winner. Surprisingly, the challenges were some of the best parts of the night for me. I loved seeing Camilla mount a comeback for the win at the Final 5. Also, Samotion is one of my favorite challenges, so I'm always happy to see it play out again. As a new fan since the Boston live show, my nephew liked it too. He texted me saying, "Oh wow, this ball game reminds me of that contraption in the mall." Looking back, I remember how much we loved watching this huge Rube Goldberg machine full of winding balls in the middle of our local shopping center as kids while his mom shopped for hours. Maybe that's why I enjoy it so much. Moving on, the fire showdown just left me feeling sorry for Camilla. Watching everyone else, including Camilla herself, continue to have so much empathy for Eva was nice, but it seems she had none for Camilla at all. It's been a recurring theme that has rubbed me the wrong way throughout the season. Yeah, another thing they said in the exit interviews, Eva talked about it, was that she had the breakdown when she was practicing fire was way worse than what they showed, way worse than the first one. She was much further gone, scratching herself, and then she had another one at the fire making challenge when she realized that the materials were different, and that really set her off again. She had another episode there they had to talk her down from. As I've stated before, Eva is a champion for autism representation in current times, and I have great respect for that. I'm just not the biggest fan of her social gameplay as it was shown to us. Final Tribal Council just reinforced the feeling I've had for a lot of this season. The edit is just never made sense. Like you both said, we never even got the big wow moment seeing the jury react to all of Kyle and Camilla's moves. After listening to a few exit interviews, it seemed like a lot of players even thought they could beat Joe and Eva.
At the end.
I just wish we had seen that. It sounds like we were missing big chunks of the story. Apparently, there were major reasons why Mitch didn't make a move with Star and Mary, but we were left in the dark. Also, I have no idea why Mary and Star actually chose to vote for Eva after what we were shown. I've never been the biggest fan of Joe's gameplay, but I ended up feeling sad for him in the end after he was built up so much. I'm extremely happy with Kyle's win, but I'd be more satisfied to know how everything truly played out. All in all, we did have a fun cast full of interesting people this season. However, we lost so many real strategists before the merge because the best physical players were not Survivor fans. I would have loved to see a season where Chrissy, the original player to plead for real gameplay, Thomas, Bianca, Say, and Justin could show their skills alongside Kyle and Camilla. Hopefully next season, Jeff will worry less about winning an Emmy and get back to showing us the real game. Interesting. I hadn't factored that motivation in. While it's not my favorite season, 48 had some fun moments, and I had a great time discussing it with this amazing group. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. As always, I'll miss you all, and I look forward to hearing from everyone for season 49. Have a great summer, all. Thanks, Tara. Enjoyed that. Wow, that puts things in perspective. Because he even made an Emmy pitch during the finale there, right? There was a commercial for consideration or whatever. And on his podcast, he was talking about how this was one of the best seasons ever. And so that lines up with trying to make that pitch too. Thank you, Tara. Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor family. This is Nicola from Kentucky. Just calling in. I don't really have many observations about the season other than the beginning was good. The middle was really, really boring and predictable, and the end was kind of meh. I am glad that Kyle won. I wanted Camilla to win because she was my 24-point USB, but hey-ho. I thought they played the best game. I found the finale, especially Tribal Council, lackluster. I feel like that Kyle definitely should have been able to put his case more articulately than we were shown, hoping that he actually did. I did not watch the after show, just over all that stuff anymore. Anyway, it was Survivor, and it was good. I enjoyed it more than last season. I watched more episodes than I watched of last season. I think I only missed about 4. But I listened to all the feedback and I listened to your recaps, and it keeps me up to date with everything that's going on. So we will enjoy the summer. I was hoping we don't get too many more storms here in Kentucky. We've had a lot of devastation in a lot of communities pretty close to us. So we're doing what we can to help with that. But I hope everybody enjoys the break. Roll on season 49 and then 50. Be interesting to see who is going to be on that cast. I think Elaine Stott, who lives in Kentucky, is going to be on. She has recently been working out like a fiend on her Instagram account, so I imagine she's going to be on that list. I hope you all have a safe and happy summer. You get to see family, make some memories with the people that you love and care about. Joanna and Stacy, as always, thank you so much for everything that you do. This is really a highlight of our week in these kind of harrowing times, and I appreciate every single one of you who takes the time to put your thoughts and feelings out into our little family and universe of Survivor. Take care, everybody. Cheers. See you in September.
Thanks, Nicola. Wow, that made me smile. So we might get to see Busted Can of Biscuits on season 50, huh? Do you remember little Elaine?
Vaguely.
Yeah, she was a hoot. Thanks, Nicola. Yeah, I definitely thought of you when I heard about that tornado that hit in the middle of the night, and the warnings didn't go off. So that was bad news for Missouri and Kentucky. Next up, we got a call from TitoBurrito.
Hello, Survivor fans and Joanne and Stacy. This is TitoBurrito, and I'm on the road off to Philadelphia. Woo! Not sure you can tell, but it's hella rainy out. I'll make it there. I haven't gotten a chance to call for the season. Unfortunately, it felt a little mid for me, but let's go to this finale. For that little mini challenge, if I was the first one to one of those emblems, I would have added an extra dot somewhere. You never know if that would have worked so well or not, but I thought it for such an insignificant significant challenge, it would have been interesting. Secondly, actually really did enjoy Camilla's arc through the whole season. And yeah, I feel like maybe she probably would have won or gotten really close if she was put in a position to plead her case. Otherwise, decent winner. Don't have much really to add because, I mean, I fell asleep twice during the finale, I'm sorry. But beyond that, I hope everyone's having a good one. I think there's a holiday coming up soon, so have a great holiday as well. TitoBurrito out. Bye. Actually, I'm not done. Whatever my feelings are, I'm just putting them out into the ether just because it felt so weird to me to genderize elbow, arm, shoulder, hip placement is wild. I thought that was the stupidest bit that I had seen on Survivor ever. And the fact that that was on my screen for even more than 5 seconds felt a little weird for me. Good on you, Jeff, for trying to be yes and, but it still also fell flat. So, yeah, no, I just had to come back on to be like, sorry, that was a no, that was a boot, no, sorry, bro. I'm gonna put my arm wherever I want to when I drink my milk. Bye.
That's good. Thanks, Tito. Good deal. Next up, got an email from Crystal in Santa Rosa, California.
Well, we made it. This was my first real-time season as I was doing a nearly 3-year binge of Survivor to get me to now. It was well worth it, and I'm pretty proud of myself. I can hear my mama's voice from heaven telling me, I told you it was a great show. As always, she was right.
Oh, I like that.
Overall, I enjoyed the finale a lot. My biggest surprise was that Joe really did have good intuition on Kyle and Camilla's plan. But why he didn't follow up on it more, I just don't understand. It was sad to see Mitch suffer with everyone's honesty about voting him out, but he pretty much seemed to lose his drive after the merge. Even if he did make the final 3, I suspect he wouldn't have earned a single vote due to the lack of gameplay. He was certainly one of the nicest and sincere players ever, but the new era doesn't reward only nice. He would have been the perfect GOAT. The saddest and most difficult part of the episode, though, was the Eva fire-making practice. I felt really bad for Kyle because he felt totally responsible for sending her down that spiral path of despair. I'm super proud of how she handled herself in the end, though. Hope she's sending Joe a special Father's Day card because he deserves it. At fire making with Camilla, I had to peek through my fingers. It was a tie with who had the most anxiety in that one. Camilla over-talking was definitely a sign she was struggling, and I worried Eva was going to just start crying or walk away. The editing seemed off with the final 3 speeches. Did Eva really get the lion's share of talking points? My son and I were so anxiety-ridden when Kyle didn't speak up sooner about the alliance, all along with Camilla. I think Camilla sensed it too, and that's why she threw him that bone to get the conversation started. I agree with the jury that she would have won if she were up there. Oh, dear David, you are consistent, if nothing else. The knock-knock paused response with the finalists was hilarious. Oi. Plus, I think the wrap-up with Kyle and Camilla cringing with the milk scene said it all. They were over it. Nevertheless, I wish David all the best in his future endeavors, but I won't be adopting him after all. Too much work. I also want to acknowledge Mary. Her facial expressions were awesome during the reveals. I don't regret picking her for my USB even a little bit. So, with the vote reading, how did you guys take the Eva expression? She seemed baffled and very upset. I do think she will be a return contender one day. Not the 50th, but not too far away is my guess. Finally, I want to thank you both for enhancing my Survivor 48 experience. I have been so excited to finally hop on the bus with all of you since listening to the podcast for years. My JSFL score was 80, which was the same as Jade and Jeremiah, who are 2 of my favorites. Yay!
Good job.
See you in the fall and have a wonderful summer. Roseville is going to be 103 next Friday, so hope you're happy with your move. All right, thanks. She said Crystal and much cooler Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Yes, it is colder cooler over by the coast. So,
It's a whole different world.
Yeah. So, yeah, I won't be missing that, but it's so hot and humid here that...
Yeah, it's actually...
Yeah. The humidity just, oh, man, it wilts me.
Yeah, and we are in the gnat zone. So if you go outside, there's something buzzing in your ears trying to get in there.
No, they go in your ears.
Yeah.
They go in your ears.
Yeah.
And they'll if they can get in the house, they'll follow you too. I forgot how much I hate gnats.
Crystal asked about Eva's expression, and Eva really thought she was going to get more votes. She was really disappointed in how the voting went and that she did not win in her exit interviews. She had done the math, basically, and decided that she deserved more.
Well, I do 100% think that she expected to win. That I don't think there was any doubt in her mind that she would win, and that's why there was this almost shocked, upset look on her face. Mm-hmm. Is that what? Because she was just so positive that she had it.
Yeah, and it's going to be impossible for her to win unless she's in a group that's willing to play the way she wants to play exactly. Because I can't see her adapting to other ways of playing Survivor.
I think that she was very perceptive in choosing Joe, and that they both
definitely give her credit for that, right?
From that relationship, and will continue to. But I don't know that part of that is just luck.
I agree that they gained personally. I'm not so sure that they gained in the context of the game.
Well, I think they got as far as they did, and nobody targeted them any more than they did because of Eva's advantages. Because her sitting on 2 and everybody knowing that she had things that could protect her and Joe. So it was scarier.
A lot of people didn't know about the safety without power, though.
Some, but... the people that would
weren't
have
in
to
her
turn
alliance.
on them,
that
would have to turn on them in order to make it happen, knew. So, and I think it made it more scary, and that they did feel very close to Joe. I think Kyle's connection with Joe was real.
Oh, sure, all that, absolutely. They had great personal moments out there that aren't shown. But Shahin, Mitch, Camilla, Kyle, they all recognized a lack of social response for Eva and Joe in the jury as the jury started to come together.
Well, and I think that's why Shahin kept saying, no, I played a better game and I can sell it.
Camilla and Kyle agreed that too. Mitch wasn't scared to sit with them either.
And part of me really did want to hear Shahin prove it, but, didn't go that way. So, all right.
Thanks, Crystal. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. It was a great episode. It was okay. It was a fine season. I enjoyed it. It was very workmanlike. Just as workmanlike as Jeff's intro, which could have been a commercial. We wouldn't have missed that. But I'm going to miss y'all until Labor Day, when I get to hear what y'all have to think about Survivor 49. 49! I don't like it when Jeff openly gives people clues. When they're in a challenge and somebody realizes, we got to go counterclockwise to work through this birth maze. And then Jeff's saying, go counterclockwise! Or what's the other one? It's a fire puzzle. It's the puzzle of the logo that you have on your buff. Well done, Jeff. Absolutely. Okay, it was a great series. I've got a whole bunch of notes, and I'm going to skip over most of it, and I can't read it anyway. I liked how Joe got the bat signal and was right there to help out Eva in learning how to make fire. I liked how Kyle won the immunity, Joanne, and I was happy for you. We've come so far. Oh, at the beginning of the episode, we didn't get the lady saying, let the games begin. The resume section was nice, where they pulled off their Superman glasses and showed who they are in real life. and we knew the one guy was a firefighter. Let's see, it's the final night. Who provides the wardrobe? We never get to see them ironing clothes. What's up with that? The season was great. It was all right. Good people. Kai won, and I was really happy about that. It was a good season. Mary pours champagne over and over and over again. That's what they made it look like to me anyway. There was a nice hug out with Jeff at the end. Have a great off season. I love you, everyone. Gosh, that came out of nowhere. I was trying to just say, I look forward to hearing from you all around Labor Day, which I've already said. Have a great summer, everyone.
We love you too, Chris.
You bet. All right, next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey, this is Anderson from North Carolina calling with my feedback for the finale. This week, once I made my picks, I thought I was really confident. And going to the final tribal, I thought, if Kyle doesn't win, I'm making an appearance. And that was basically the case, because if Kyle didn't win, Eva would have won, and my picks would have been cooked. So, Kyle was the only pick I got right, but somehow ended up middle of the pack in the sack challenge, which is pretty good, coming off of a loss last season. But I just wanted to let you know, I will be taking part in the sack challenge next season, so just getting early jump on that one. And I did not get to watch the after show, so I don't know anything about 49. And I will definitely be watching the 50 cast announcement. And the only person I'm hoping for right now is Sam from 47. And I guess that's all. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Anderson. Yes, Sam was your boy last time, wasn't he? Good deal. Appreciate that. Next up, we got an email from Matt and Summer from East Tennessee. Hey, Joanne and Stacey, even though the season hasn't been the best, we were both excited for the finale, and we enjoyed it more than most of the other episodes this season. We got Jeff's familiar opening recap of the season, but it felt like he did a little too much retconning to make it sound way more interesting than what we actually saw. Yeah, that's a good description of that. Camilla has been the puzzle queen this season, and her come from behind immunity win at Final Five was exciting to watch. Mitch got to enjoy some final bro time with his guys after the challenge. It was a fleeting hope that he might lead a last-minute takedown of Joe. Of course, that didn't happen. His observation that I should have made a move really sums up his gameplay and that of others on the jury, even with the Final Four showing honesty and integrity, telling Mitch he was next to go. We both were hoping he would have pushed back more. He just seemed so defeated and too broken to try. He should have made more of an issue of the lack of honesty in stringing him along at the vote out and at Final Tribal, in our opinion. Yeah, nobody really called him on any of that stuff, did they? Summer guessed that the final challenge would be Samotion, and we both thought Eva or Joe would win, but were cheering for Camilla for the upset. Kyle wins, and the rest of the episode was set up to go how it went. We never doubted Kyle would keep his word taking Joe to the Final Tribal, and weren't surprised at Camilla and Eva going to fire. Good job on both women for being confident and determined in the fire challenge. And Camilla's bartender exit was super funny. Final Tribal, like the season overall, was just okay. Like Joanne, we wanted more. The questions were mostly softballs and the answers were bland. All three made a decent case for winning, but we weren't overly impressed by anyone's argument. Although we loved Eva's comment about not just running with the big dogs, but being one. Like the final three, David's gotcha on the knock-knock joke caught us off guard as well, but was refreshing after seeing his silly scowl all these weeks. The shocked faces on everyone when Kyle and Camilla revealed the secret alliance was priceless. Kyle played well enough and deserved the win as much as anyone. That said, while we weren't shown any signs that the jury was bitter, we still think it is possible that a few of Kyle's votes could have been not Eva, not Joe votes. Some folks we could imagine seeing back again in Fiji or Australian Survivor or Deal or No Deal Island or Amazing Race are Mitch, Joe, Camilla, Star, and Mary, with Thomas as an honorable mention. David has a good shot for the next Uncharted movie. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, and we doubt we've seen the last of Shahin, either on Survivor or somewhere else in the public eye. As far as JSFL, we would have been in the money if we had reversed our number 1 and number 2 picks, but no regrets since this is our best season yet. Congrats to Todd from Texas for the win, and a big woo to Joanne on the second place finish. Can only imagine what it feels like to get that USB 24. Maybe someday. Summer thinks season 49 will just be a mashup of all the typical new era cast, especially with the preview focusing on the quirky characters. It's been a great ride this season with you all and the rest of our Survivor family. Thanks for all you do and can't wait to hear what the other super fans say. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Summer. Good job. Great to have you along this season. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So, watched the finale with the kids last night. Had a good time. It was the outcome, the most desired outcome as far as I'm concerned. But, yeah, I guess this season happened. That's the most I can say for it. Here's the thing. When I can get one vote away from the correct Final Five order, that tells you that the season is pretty much locked in the predictable category. So I definitely had Joe going in second place, saw him getting at least another vote more than Eva. But what I didn't count on was Eva being able to sell herself so well at the finals, or Joe selling himself so poorly. That was like almost pathetic. It was really, really unexpected. And I've been saying for weeks that if they let Joe get to the end, that they deserve to lose to him. But I think we were shown a Joe that didn't really exist. I think the edit gave him this hugely favorable presentation that I don't think he could live up to when it came down to the finals. So Kyle won me over kind of toward the end, almost by default, because everyone else kind of annoyed me. The histrionics, the drama, what's the word? It's just, listen, I love the theater, right? I love the theater, but when it's like this, when it's just so put on, it's kind of like social media influencers. When you can tell they're creating content, it's just such a turnoff. We've always known that there's drama and there's editing in Survivor, but when it's so obvious and it's so clear and it's just kind of distracting from the characters or from just the general season of the story, so to speak, it takes you out of it. It's frustrating, and there were a lot of things that didn't make sense this season. So, yeah, looking forward to the next one, of course. Always am. But, and the kids, like I said, they really liked it. Adelaide is still sad about Faye. Charlie is still sad. I mean, he always liked Shahin, so that was kind of a bummer. But we'll see what happens next season. And, hey, how about that? I got out of the basement, and significantly. Yes. So, like you were saying, never know what's going to happen there at the finale. I mean, I've dropped even further in past seasons during the finale, but I'll take the middling sort of win. Everyone have a great summer and talk to you again. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Drew.
Good job, Drew.
We appreciated hearing the update on how the kids enjoyed it too. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. And as an ex-English teacher, let me redo Charles Dickens' quote. It wasn't the best of times. It wasn't the worst of times. It wasn't the age of reason. It was the age of foolishness. It was Survivor 48. Well, what can I say? This season didn't do it for me. I didn't get into it from the start. I started late, and I don't like seeing a team implode the way it seems to be happening every season now. Once we started the post-merge part of the game, I had high hopes, but even that, I kept waiting for moves to be made, and they just weren't made. I think Mitch had one of the best lines in the show the other night when he said, "I should have made a move." And I think so many of the players could have said that. And honestly, in seeing them in the jury and in the discussion, I never got the feeling that they seemed to realize they had a shot and they let it go by. My ranking of the season was much lower until the final 2 episodes, so that did help. I thought it was great when Camilla won a immunity challenge and ended up being in the final 4. I'm not sure she should have talked to Kyle about who would vote the other one into fire if they were at the final. Because I think if Camilla had been in the final, it's possible she might have won over Kyle. I don't know. I felt that it was good hearing her talk about the voices in her head that were saying negative things, because I felt that she played the game always ready to step back and letting Kyle take that spot, where Kyle never did that. He went into the game from the beginning thinking he could win. I don't think she ever did think that. But anyway, in the end, I was satisfied that all three of the final players got a vote. Cedric's vote was the way he played the game, and I can't say more than that. In the end, Jeff was saying how it was a magnificent game, great players, great strategy. Well, not quite. But yes, there were a lot of compelling stories. I am looking forward to season 50. The previews for season 49 is starting to look like all the rest of the Fiji Island episodes with numbers. They just look alike to me. They look like the same players to me. But anyway, I'm always hopeful. I'll see you guys in September. Have a great summer.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
We hope you have a great summer, too.
I think he did that on purpose as a reflection of how the season hit him.
Okay.
He left us wanting more. Good deal. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Marion, Maryland.
Hooray! The season has been redeemed for me.
Awesome.
I've enjoyed Kyle from the beginning, and I've been pulling for him to win, despite the frustration of being teased the whole season with a big move that never came. At least there was a satisfying ending.
I like that.
There were so many interesting characters that didn't really get a chance to play. I would have loved to see more of Thomas, Mary, and Star, even Cedric and Justin. I was looking forward to watching them play for longer. I had to go look up and see who Justin was. I totally forgot.
You forgot the pizza guy already.
I did. Okay. I was so disappointed with the Mitch vote. It was so obvious they didn't even bother to try any kind of misdirect. I was proud to see Camilla fight through and win the challenge. I love that she can hold on to the fact that she was never voted out. Even with the lack of strategy and interesting moves this season, I always enjoy watching Survivor, listening to your recaps, and all of the listener feedback. I miss everyone during the off season. Ultimately, it was a good outcome, and I will have fond memories of Kyle as the winner. Season 49 can't come soon enough. Hopefully, I can stay busy with the most recent season of Australian Survivor while we wait. Take care, everyone. All right. Thanks, Mary. We intend to do that as well.
Yes. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joe and Stacey, and all 5 fans. Hope everyone's well and safe. Good winner. Very happy. I thought they built it well in the end, albeit I've got a big gripe with production, and I thought that they fumbled the finale. Thought it was quite turgid and quite slow. Again, was it the case they didn't have enough to build upon? Was this set of players boring? I mean, yeah, you'd have to say probably, with the way that the core group, that's quote-unquote strong alliance that went through and bulldozed their way, there wasn't a lot there. And I think it's a case of a very, very good winner, but a poor season. And we've had them before. I think season 45 or 46 might have been the same. And I reckon the early seasons were the case too, where we didn't get to see whether it was the edit. I know we call it a purple edit, but I don't know if we can call this one a purple edit, because I think we saw enough from Kyle to suggest that he was the worthy winner. We saw a lot, and I love that scene where he got a push from Camilla and you could see the faces of Joe and Eva just sink down. They're like, oh man, we fumbled the game. As soon as he was able to talk about the moves that he made, but he was slow. I think I agree with you there, Stacey. He really had to be pushed by Camilla, or he was really depending on Camilla to come through for him. It was odd. But yeah, I don't know where I stand, because I see these lists form, like Dalton Ross, he always does it for EW, and I just don't think that the 40s can have a place within that list from 1 to 48. It just feels like, because the game is truncated from 39 to 26 days, I feel like that they're in their own little position. And if I had to rank this season, it would be towards the bottom. I just thought the game was slow. It was turgid. There wasn't a lot to go by with regards to gameplay. I just don't think they came to play, a lot of them. I thought that there were good personalities, quote unquote, for TV moments, as we talk about a lot, Stacey. And I think that if that's the way they want to go, then it's upsetting, because I know that we've seen it creep in from 41 onwards. But at some point, you have to have people that have TV moments, but they play a good game. And we were blessed in 47. We had an excellent winner. Yeah. We had an excellent season, but too many in the 40s where we've had a very good winner and a poor season. And that's okay. It reminds me again of Earl Cole, where you had a really good player within a poor season. And again, Kyle reminds me of that. Yeah, I mean, don't know where we go. I think 49 is going to be overshadowed by 50, as both of you talked about. And I don't know what to make of the cast. The cast on the surface level looks poor. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit mean, and we'll have to see. But yeah, let's go. I mean, we're always here for Survivor, and hopefully 49 is a good season. Thanks for all that you do. Really appreciated this season, and yeah, talk to you later.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that idea of breaking out the 40s because they're so different when you're trying to rank them. And I was doing the same thing. I was going through Dalton Ross's ranking, doing my yes/nos as I was thinking about the different ones. And this for sure would not be one of the big ones in the 40s.
Yeah, because they're not equals. 26 days versus 39, it's not equal.
Yes, it's definitely not the same. So
it's a different type of gameplay.
Yeah, it all depends on how you want to set the criteria for the ranking of the seasons, I guess, from that perspective. Certainly these are above the ones where they had cast racist people and people, like a sexual predator and all that. Those are clearly way, way, way down on the bottom. For the longest time, Fiji, the one that Shahin mentioned, was my lowest ranking season because of the failed concept. There was only one person who was a fan of the show in the Fiji cast, and he went out on a medical. And then the haves versus have-nots theme of the original Fiji season was just horrendous. It was a train wreck of a season. You had Yao Man. So good things absolutely come from bad seasons. You had Yao Man, you had Earl, and those two were just fantastic standouts from that perspective. But it wasn't enough to me to...
They were the only save to the season, pretty much.
But then there's like bad cast members that brought whole seasons down that made it much, much worse than what Fiji was, which was just a production goof.
That person that you made reference to, I just saw where he got in trouble somewhere else, too.
Oh, jeez.
So it was in the news. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, those are clearly on the bottom because you bring elements like that in.
Yeah.
And it destroys a season.
Yeah, and it's not really fair to the other people. But
for the
it
early
is
ones.
what it is.
And yeah, these are just a mess. Certainly 41 to me is way worse than 48. I got to put 48 above that. But you get beyond the stupid broken hourglass turn back time thing, and it's at the bottom, just above those.
Yeah.
For me. Thanks, Shahin. I enjoyed that analysis. I always look forward to hearing how you're thinking about the season and different aspects like that. Appreciate it. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hey everybody, this is Kim from North Carolina. I'm pretty happy with the ending. I got the Mitch vote correct, except for the USB part. And I got the Joe position correct, so
Yay,
I don't know what my score is in JFSL, but probably not very good. But it doesn't really matter. I enjoyed the finale. I wish a move had been made earlier. I think the season could have been more interesting, like the one that Rachel won. But anyway, I always love Survivor. I absolutely love participating with this community, and I wish you all happy trails until September. Take care.
Excellent. We love having you being a part of this community, Kim. Thank you. Next up, got a call from Brandon.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. Brandon from Indiana here with my Survivor season finale, season 48 feedback. I know I've missed a few weeks, and so I'm trying to get this feedback recorded while I'm thinking about it during my drive into work, so apologies for the sound of my car in the background. Overall, I thought as a season, not my favorite. Not probably in the top half of seasons for me of the new era. Not even the cast itself wasn't my favorite either. I wouldn't put 47 as far as, I don't know. I liked 47. I see a lot of people crapping on 47, but I think the thing that I love about 47 is the cast specifically. There's so many individuals on that season that I really enjoyed and found ways to connect with and feel for. And this season, I didn't really have that. I like Kyle and Camilla. I like Kyle as a winner quite a bit, but I'm not like actively, I wasn't fandom pulling for them the way that I was for Carolyn in season 44 and Teeny in season 47, and trying to think of who all was in season 46, because I really liked a lot of season 46 as well. But I will say that even with that kind of negativity for me, I enjoyed watching the season finale for the most part. I know my mom loved it. She thought it was the great season finale, fantastic final tribal council, and I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't something that I was, oh my God, I gotta go write a blog about this, or I want to make things and talk about this. It was okay. I am excited for next season just because it's more Survivor. There wasn't anything in that preview that made me think, oh man, what do we got coming up? But I do feel like season 50 is overshadowing season 49. The cast leaks, rumors that are coming out have me a little bit down on the season 50 ideas as well. I really don't want to see Colby Donaldson again, but we'll see. Maybe we will. I do think that I am most excited right now, personally, for both Joanne and Stacy, because I know that you guys are probably about to start watching the last season of Australian Survivor, and I know how much personally I got from that season and how much I loved that season. So I'm very excited to see what your guys' thoughts are. I know you don't do podcasts about it, but I would love if during Jabik you took a few minutes just to talk about the Australian Survivor season, because I would love to hear your guys' thoughts so much, because I really enjoyed that season, and I think you're in for a lot of fun that's coming up. As far as the rest of things, JSFL, I did fairly well. Didn't quite get what I thought. I thought I had made different picks, and so I thought I was going to be near the top. Did not happen. I got 25 points off the finale, so not a great day for me, but we'll see with next year. Can't wait to hear what all the other fans thought about the show. Have a great summer.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, I'm sure that all of those who got 0 points on the finale thought you did great. So
yes.
that they would have been happy with that.
Good stuff. Yes, we're looking for it. We haven't started yet. We needed a little break, and we needed just to focus on this. We got to get this over the finish line right now.
Again,
Yeah, but we're looking forward to a Super Survivor version and the Australian version after coming off this Probst budget Survivor flavor.
And I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of those of you. I had asked on the fans page on Facebook that anybody who was watching it, the Australian Survivor, not to put out any spoilers or say what was happening, because we never watched during our season.
Especially not one of those, which is
and we
with 24 episodes.
And I have been spoiled before, and everybody was really good and honored that. And so really, thank you very much.
Yep, looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll have some mention of it. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, got an email from Ed in Milwaukee.
Joanne and Stacy, this was a season that had a shortage of big moves and gameplay, but the 3 big moves that did occur were made by the team of Kyle and Camilla, and I believe that these moves were among the most perfectly executed moves in the history of the show. The first move was Kyle and Camilla playing off each other in a manner that blindsided Thomas out of the game. The second big move was Kyle standing his ground in repelling David's request to vote against Camilla, with the ultimate result of Kyle being able to convince the tribe to vote David out of the game. The third move was the brilliant execution of a lie by Kyle and Camilla to Joe and Eva about Shahin having an idol. Eva said that she wanted to vote Shahin out because she thought he was lying. She and Joe had full trust in Kyle, but it turned out that Kyle, with help from Camilla, was the one with the biggest lie. The other amazing thing about the Kyle and Camilla alliance was their ability to keep their alliance secret and their ability to plot and plan, even though they only met in private a couple of minutes a day.
Yeah, they confirmed that in the exit
Or every
interviews.
other day.
Yeah.
Their alliance is arguably the best of all time. The problem with the season is that too many players felt that their best move was to make no moves. Shahin and Eva each thought their best move would be to lay low and breeze their way into the finale, where they each believed they could convince the jury to vote for them. At the final tribal, I think that Eva was trying to pull a Marianne move and bragging about a safety without power advantage that she did not need to use. I believe that Mitch regretted not trying to make a move, but he did express frustration with trying to work with Star. But she was erratic and untrustworthy. Star's play was hard to figure out. It appears that Star and Eva were working in opposite directions, yet Star gave Eva the immunity idol and voted for her to win. Speaking of Mitch, his vote out was one of the most boring tribals of all time. I am hard-pressed to recall a tribal this late in the game where there was so little drama and suspense. Sometimes the edit tries to manufacture trauma and controversy, but there was so little drama to manufacture that Probst gave up and sent the tribe to the voting booth early. Finally, will Survivor ever reach the point where lawyers don't have to lie about their profession?
I don't know. You just had another one win. So
all right. Thanks, Ed.
I'd say that's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I would say no. They will never reach that.
Ed's summary of the Secret and Lies Alliance it was exactly what we were hoping for in that final tribal council, but we did not get. Thanks for that, Ed. That's what we wanted.
Very well put. I appreciate that.
And I haven't listened to or read all of the exit interviews. That's a lot with 5 per outlet to go through. But I haven't heard anyone specifically pin Kyle down, or Camilla for that matter, and say, "Hey, did you give them Thomas and David and Shahin?" But it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound like they actually did. It's not that it didn't make the edit. It just wasn't there. And I'm left more with the sentiment that that's the case with a lot, since they've never cracked the code on how to give us the social game really well in the edit. And since so much of this was just social elements that were happening in the downtime. I mean, we've been hungry and happy for the little bits and pieces that we've gotten because of the 90-minute episodes, but there's still so much of it that we can't really suss out what's going on. And, of course, that's where they do that on purpose, I think, to a degree, because that gives them flexibility for the trauma drama that Ed was talking about.
Obviously, because they kept showing us the little clips of what's coming up after the commercial. You know, they didn't want people to get bored and leave.
Oh, you're reading that more as their desperation now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. Thanks, Ed. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor friends. This is Pat calling from the dark desert of New Mexico. I wanted to say I really liked this season. I know a lot of people didn't, but I really did. I liked the winner.
Excellent.
To me, the final 5, I would have been happy with any of them winning. And that's never happened for me before. I can't ever remember even the final 3 that any of them winning, I would be happy with whoever won. So to me, that really made it a good season. I really liked the final group of characters. And Kyle had it wrapped up whenever Camilla explained how they organized and stuck together throughout the whole season. And to me, I don't know if Kyle had it won going into final tribal council, but I think that really sealed the deal. And I was glad to see Eva and Joe get votes, because I really think they deserve some votes. And another reason I like this season is that to me it showed that you can play and be decent people. You still have to lie, and of course you still have to backstab somebody immediately. But the majority of these people, I think, were good, normal, regular people who weren't necessarily trying to make TV moments or to be a villain or bad guy. So I really like that. To me, it just showed that you can play differently. And speaking of that, David, I am so over him. Thank God the season's over. I don't think he understands that Survivor is not about David, so I'm so glad he's gone. I haven't said all that. I want to say, and this is personal, this isn't a paid endorsement from Joanne or Stacy, but I want to thank Joanne and Stacy for this podcast. And then I want to thank all the super fans that call in or email in every week. Because as I say every episode, I drive a truck across the country every week. And for me, the Survivor Fans podcast adds, I don't know, 2.5 hours a week of entertainment. And I don't have anybody in my family or friends really that watch Survivor. So you all are my Survivor friends, my Survivor family, and the podcast, Joanne and Stacy, and everybody that contributes just adds to my enjoyment. And one last thing, if you don't call in or if you don't email, give it a try. Because, yes, it's hard to call in. I hate the sound of my voice. I hate my accent, and I stutter sometimes. I mess up what I'm saying, but you guys don't hear it because Stacy is a miracle worker with editing. So until next season, everyone have a good summer, and you all will be truly missed. See ya.
All right. Thanks, Pat. We appreciate that.
We'll miss you too, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, he doesn't edit me as much, so I do those things all the time. And I don't like the sound of my voice. I never did. And yet I just decided, okay, Stacy wants to do this, so I just need to get over it and move on. Now, I still don't like to listen to me. I just spot check everything.
There you go. That's why you should contribute. Stacy wants you to.
That's right. You wanted me to, and I love you, so.
All right.
And I've enjoyed it.
Oh, there you go. Right there.
Well, yeah, but I didn't even know what a podcast was.
No one did, baby.
You suggested, well, yeah, that we
got in on the beginning. Yeah.
That's true, too.
Yep. Thanks, Pat. We deeply appreciate that, bud. Next up, got a call from Tuppence.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Tuppence. I'm recording this with Wakeful Spaces ringing in my ears. I just listened to your recap, and my first thought is, I can't believe you're planning to sit through that whole boring, repetitive finale all over again. Oh my gosh. I almost wish I turned off my TV after Camilla won that immunity challenge, and before she chose Eva for the reward. That made me so annoyed. What do you mean you're hungry? You've eaten every day. But it didn't diminish my happiness for Camilla winning the challenge. I really firmly believe that she deserved to win the whole game, not only for her clearly superior gameplay to any other castaway on the season, but also because to me she illustrated the most personal growth. I really felt that she had a winner's story, and I had to look away from the screen when she was failing to get any fire going. Such a bummer that Kyle didn't choose her to go to the end. I don't think it would have been that bad strategically. I mean, I do concede that she is an obvious winner, but I do also think that their strength as a duo would have been communicated if they were sitting there together in the final three, dominating the final three. They would have been the unbroken pair, and I just wish they could have been sitting side by side when they revealed their secret alliance. But I think the message of the Survivor edit for this season is, even in Survivor, there apparently can be a relationship between two players that is not only so emotionally significant that they're prioritizing each other over their own gameplay at times, it seems, but it's so emotionally significant that it even causes other players to prioritize protecting that bond over moving their own game forward. Joe and Eva, I think, must have had some intense dynamic, and it was probably an enormous presence around camp, at least based on how much it was present in the edit, and yet the pair actually never really had to face any obstacles. They weren't a duo that was actually really forged in fire the way that Kyle and Camilla had to get scrappy between them and figure out a plan. They were just a duo that never had any distrust between them. And that's all the more reason why pitting Eva and Joe against each other to make fire, I think, would have been incredible television and created some really high stakes, which would have been kind of new for the fire-making challenge, which is generally kind of boring, as evidenced by the fact that they're changing it back for 50. I can't wait for that. And in the meantime, we'll have 49. And I can't be too sad about the season, because at least I can be proud that I correctly selected my USB 24 in my first ever JSFL. Woohoo! So happy to be in this elite upper percentile along with Joanne. Congrats. Such a pleasure to be along with you and with all the fans for this journey. Thank you all so much. And I'll see you for 49. Take care.
Awesome.
All right.
We've enjoyed having you. Good job, Tuppence. Next up, we got an email from Becca in South Carolina. Hi, Joanna, Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. With gymnastics, swim team, softball, and a camping trip all falling between the finale and the feedback deadline, it was a challenge to squeeze in time to watch Survivor. In full disclosure, only the girls have watched so far, and we haven't made it through the after show. The kids and I did, however, have time to play Scrabble 3 times this week. That must be why I was able to come up with the word secure as soon as Kyle rattled off the letters that would open the advantage box, just like Eva. As soon as we saw the challenge course, Carolyn groaned. She would hate to have to crawl through that twisty net. I would too. It looks like someone could drown in that mud. If I had been chosen to go on the reward, I think I would have politely declined. Is that allowed? Sure. I'd rather go a couple more days without food than eat pasta while I was covered in mud. It was nice of everyone to tell Mitch their plan, but we did wonder if we were being tricked. We loved seeing Shahin come in smiling. Caroline was especially sad to see Mitch go, but the blow was softened by our 5th place pick being correct. I appreciated that Jeff and Camilla verbalized her mindset when they met for the final challenge. Carolyn's softball All-Stars game is coming up, and she's feeling intimidated by the other team's pitcher. So we talked about applying Camilla's words and approaching all of her at-bats with confidence. Ooh, I love that.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I would love to send that to Camilla.
Jeff kept referring to the hypnotic effect of the ball track. Maybe I've been hypnotized into loving this challenge because it's one of my favorites. I also began to wonder if Jeff uses a recording of Samotion sounds as part of his bedtime routine. Kyle winning immunity was the beginning of the end of our JSFL score, but when it started to look like everyone was going to make fire, I thought we might have had a chance after all. At the risk of dropping a spoiler for a 22-year-old book, Camilla and Kyle's feelings about how it would go if they were both in the final 3 reminded me of the prophecy in Harry Potter. Neither can live while the other survives. I think it would have been exciting if Kyle had put himself against Camilla in fire making. If they were sure they shouldn't sit there together, it seems like a big chance to take Eva and Camilla to fire, which made me wonder if Camilla might have thrown fire making. No, she said that she was having cramps in her legs and she just wasn't feeling all that great. And it was because, and her hands. And she said there was really poor well etiquette, that the original Loggies had a habit of taking their water bottles and holding them over the well as they poured water in. And so water would run down the sides and wash crud and gunk off their bottles back into the well water, instead of proper well etiquette, according to Camilla, is to ladle the water out and pour it in with your water bottle over to the side away from the well.
Didn't she
itself.
come up with a coconut etiquette too?
Yes. Yeah, that was
There's
her line.
Not enough etiquette.
Yes,
practice.
definitely not.
island.
Well, she said the water was getting pretty bad and she wasn't drinking enough, and she said she thought that was the source of the cramps she was having.
Yeah.
So she didn't throw it, she at least not directly, intentionally. I'm glad each of the final 3 got at least 1 vote. I guess I take after my grandma in that way. She always liked it when every player on Wheel of Fortune left with a little money. What I could have done without was David's weirdly timed knock-knock joke. He had all that time to think about what he would say to the final 3, and that's what he came up with? Oh, David. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, and all who contributed to this great season. We'll be looking forward to watching season 49 with you. Thanks, Becca. We look forward to having you all join us again for 49. Next up, we got a call from Sammy.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. Knock, knock. Who's there? Not Survivor 48, because this overall flop of a season is over. I think Survivor 48 will be remembered for 2 things. Number 1, the California girls falling one by one to Camilla and Kyle. And number 2, something about the whole season just being sort of off. I've been rooting for Camilla for several weeks now, and it was so glorious to see her win that first immunity challenge, and then so sad to see her choke at the fire. If not Camilla, though, I'm glad it was Kyle who won the whole thing. And a hearty congratulations to Tuppence and to Joanne for your 24 bonus points. As for me, my JSFL score of 47 was less than the amount of seasons that there have been of this show so far. I think I might have played a bit too bold. Chaos Cedric casting the sole vote for Joe was a nice reminder of the fun sort of nonsense of the pre-merge portion of the game. Cedric, I miss him. And I want to again acknowledge here at the finale how much the edit affects our impression of Mitch's stutter. It's good to remember that they have a lot of footage and get to choose when to show him tripping over his words, which they seem to do for emotional story beats. And they also get to choose when to show him speaking more smoothly, such as during confessionals, seemingly every episode describing something very mundane about the game. As someone who stutters myself, I'm still unsure about how I feel about Mitch's edit. Anyway, the season 50 cast is getting announced next Wednesday. Who are you guys hoping to see? I personally would love to see anyone just totally random and unexpected show up on the list. I think that would make for something good to look forward to and ultimately a surprising season of TV. Any chance that we, the SFP listeners, might be getting a bonus episode with the season 50 cast announcement? I know you both are very busy, but it's sort of an unprecedented announcement of this cast 9 months ahead. I know we still have all of 49 to get through before the Survivor 50 Jabik show, but well, if we can't put the castaways on the grill, maybe we could start defrosting them a bit. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'm sure other listeners would agree. This is Sammy in Chicago saying, pretty please, be well.
Thanks, Sammy. You
Sorry,
off
Sammy.
really sweetly, but no. We're not going to do that right now. I can see him in the conference room at CBS going, hey, we've had this. We're going to leave it to the fans to make these choices that they've been doing about how season 50 is going to work and all that. And don't we need a payoff? We got to have a payoff. And it looked like they were initially, it looked like they were going to reveal the cast the day of the finale. And then we saw a little later that it actually said a week from the finale. But
I'm slightly annoyed.
Really,
I am.
I don't know.
It's like
outside
it's
of that
not
corporate
here.
reasoning kind of scenario, it just seems
It's
like it's
don't
a bad idea.
overstimulate people and then fizzle.
Yeah,
And then they have
again.
to wait another whole season.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a long way away.
At least, so they're out there right now prepping. I think that's where they are on the timeline for 50. They're probably out there sleeping in the tents right now. I think they've already flown out. I could have that off by a week or two. But, they're going to be able to announce the cast knowing that's the cast that got started for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That they didn't need to shuffle in alternates or anything like that. So I guess that part's good. And there are leaks. Redmond on Inside Survivor has consistently been leaking cast members early. And so, maybe they're getting ahead of it.
Of that. I don't even know where to go to look.
Yeah, I'm never drawn by that. I just don't. It doesn't offer anything.
Well, then how do you know that they're
thaw it
leaking?
out? Because you can look back in time and see what date they were published on, and I've seen those before.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just see them accidentally get spoiled with something.
Besides, I don't even want to see anything until it's official.
Let's focus on another aspect of a different question from Sammy, which was, is there someone you really want to see in 50? Real quick.
Don't look at me.
First person that popped into my head, Devins. Beck Devins.
Oh, Rick. Yeah, sure.
Yep. I said Beck. Rick Devins. Yes.
You said what?
Doesn't matter. Moving on. Yeah. Devins.
Uh-huh.
I got your name wrong. Sorry, bud. Yeah, Devins for sure. I could see him. I enjoyed watching him play.
I'm sure there's tons of people I'd like to see play. I just, anybody asks me those kinds of questions, and I'm like, I can't think of anyone. I don't even know who played before. I'm just blank.
Sometimes she has forgotten the members of the cast of the season that just happened when we start a new
I
one.
didn't even remember who Justin was.
Of this season.
Of
yes.
this season.
So that's a very
like,
challenging
Justin?
question, Sammy.
There was a Justin in this.
Okay.
And I had to go to the roster and look and went, oh, the pizza guy. Yeah, got it.
Devon's. That's mine for sure.
Okay.
Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Johnny calling from Wisconsin. I really did enjoy this finale. I thought it was pretty good. It was fairly predictable. I mean, I did have Mitch going out first, which I'm sure many did, and nobody really got the Eva 2 votes that they were predicting, so of course I didn't get that. But I was thinking a lot about Final Four Challenge. And I was even picturing that one too, the Samotion. I was kind of picturing that, and I thought, you know what? I think Camilla has a better shot than Kyle does at winning that. So basically, I just wanted anybody but Kyle to win that for my predictions to be right. And of course, Kyle pulls it out. But great for him. I think he's a great deserving winner with this season. He played everybody just right. He definitely didn't move too early. I think Shahin hit on that in his interview. But yeah, no, it was awesome because I think that with a winner like that, it just gives people more ideas on different ways to play. And this was obviously an anomaly season with the way it was played. People like Thomas and Bianca and whatever else, they just got canned right away. When in normal seasons, they would have gone really, really deep. As for fantasy, way to go, Drew. Great catch up on the points there. Same thing with Anderson. Didn't have to lose 2 years in a row, so that's always applauded. And instead, it's me. Yay. But no, I'm not too worried. I have done parodies before. I've built some stuff. I have some okay software for this. So I'm going to put some love and care into it for sure. The last few days, I've actually been writing down some jokes, some lyrics, some stuff that rhymes. To get some more content, I might just listen to all the Josh the Plush Moose feedbacks. Those are filled with a lot of good stuff. No, I'm pretty excited. And as for the song choice, I don't really care. You guys will know before I will. But yeah, it'll be fun. I just want to say thank you very much to you guys, Joanne and Stacy, for continuing to make these great podcasts and all the insights that you provide, as well as the platform for all the listeners to plug in as well. So just thanks a lot for everybody. And it's been a really fun season, so thank you for making it fun. Even if they just watched it on TV, it probably wouldn't have been as fun. So always appreciate that. I'll see you guys. Keep her moving.
Excellent.
But I sent you an email.
No, he recorded this before then.
Before I sent the email?
Yeah, he knows the song, so that's great.
Okay,
and
perfect.
He's got a plan. I love that. I'm already looking forward to it, Johnny. Good job, bud.
That's awesome. I am too.
Next up, we got an email from Liam in New York.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and fellow Survivor fans. It's time for my once-a-season listener feedback. First off, congratulations, Joanne, on picking USB 24 Kyle. Well done. Thank you. I am excited about that. This season was strange and challenging, but I thought the finale delivered. It was packed with great twists and turns, and best of all, the winner was someone I genuinely rooted for. During the final vote reveal, when Jeff read Eva's name for the second time, I started shouting, "No, no, no," thinking she was about to win and ruin the season for me. I was so relieved when the remaining votes went to Kyle. I really disliked the first half of the season, especially the Strong Players Alliance with their talk of honor and integrity. Let's be honest. Honor and integrity is often code for we're in control. Everyone lies and manipulates in Survivor. It's the nature of the game. What frustrated me most was their narrow definition of strength. They had no respect for strategic players who aren't physically dominant, like Camilla, who have to rely on their social and mental skills instead.
True.
On that note, I'm usually not a fan of the physically dominant male players who often behave like bullies, though not always. Shout out to Gentle Giant Jonathan, Brad Culpepper, Coach, Scott Pollard, Kyle Jason from Korong, and James in his later seasons all come to mind. In the second half of the season, I was frustrated, like many others, with Kyle's reluctance to make a move and his loyalty to Joe. But in hindsight, Kyle clearly understood the jury better than I did.
All of us.
So I have to give him credit. His read on the endgame was spot on. Speaking of Joe, what was with him constantly strutting around shirtless? He and David looked like a couple of peacocks. And that stoic, tough guy expression, exhausting. Joe drove me nuts, and I'm glad the jury didn't reward him for it, except for Cedric, who I think was one of the worst players in recent memory. Jeff claimed in his podcast that Survivor 48 was one of the best seasons of all time. I don't know what he was smoking. Sure, Kyle ended up being a solid winner. I'd place him in the top half. But overall, the season was frustrating and a major letdown. Maybe that's because it followed season 47, one of the best ever, with Rachel securing her spot on the Mount Rushmore of Survivor winners. After that high, maybe no season could have lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Still, a huge thank you to you, Joanne and Stacy, and to all the fantastic Survivor fans who make this community so much fun. Season 48 may have been a dud, but this season of the Survivor Fans podcast was a big winner. All right, well, thank you, Liam.
Appreciate that. I'm glad you shared your once-a-season feedback. I enjoyed that. I like your analysis. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor superfans. It's Justin from Michigan. So I didn't watch the previews leading up to the finale because I saw on Twitter that the immunity win and Mitch being in the jury were actually spoiled by the CBS promos if you looked hard enough. They need to do better at that, especially for finale night. People who are over-analyzing the previews shouldn't get spoiled to those big results. So going forward, they really need to look into that. I kept thinking at the Mitch vote out, if Eva was a true gamer, she could have used the idol to save Mitch and take out Kyle. This would have been a move that she could have used in her jury speech, that I made a move that was only mine. I had this idol this whole time. Everybody thought I would use it on me or Joe at the end, and I didn't. I used it to weaponize it, and I used it to take out Kyle, who I thought was the biggest threat to my game. She could have owned that vote. It would have clearly separated herself from Joe and actually given her a chance against either Mitch or Camilla, whoever was at the end there. My heart sunk when Kyle flirted with making fire, and even when Joe offered to make fire for Eva, I'm glad she immediately said, no, I'm not even considering that. I give her a lot of credit for that. It would have been easy to say, you know what, I am having so much emotional turmoil from this. It is better for me just to go to the end, even though if I do this, I'm probably going to be the third place. I give her a lot of credit for pushing through and proving she could do it. It was a frustrating fire-making challenge, though. Camilla really did revert back to her old self-doubting ways, talking to herself, oh my gosh, I'm sucking at this. It was unfortunate that she couldn't have just paused for 2 to 3 seconds, regained her composure, and went back to what she knew she could do. It was unfortunate she couldn't even make it close, really, even when Eva seemed to start to lose her momentum. David's reveal that his mean mugging was acting, I think, was the biggest blindside of the season. I thought it was hilarious. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's just such out-of-the-box character moments from him. Sometimes I do think he is trying too hard. He has main character syndrome where he thinks everything he does is great. Star kind of has that too. But for me, it did hit. I liked it. So it's a satisfying conclusion to a roller coaster of a season. Some things I thought were missing at Final Tribal Council. Joe didn't tie in his sister's story that we saw. I thought that was odd. I thought that could have really given the jury some emotional connection to him. Kyle didn't walk through all the behind-the-scenes moves from the Thomas to the David to the Shahin. It just didn't flow as well as I thought it would for him. And Eva, I thought, told her story to the fullest. I thought she did the best job with her game. Her game was the worst, but she told it the best is what I saw. Hopefully, Joe only getting one vote validates that these one-note, completely loyal games with lack of moves shouldn't win and won't win, especially in this modern era. So hopefully going forward, when people are in this position of on the top of a strong alliance, they'll move to shake things up, and when people are on the bottom, they'll move to unseat them. And every voting cycle, we can have different power dynamics. Looking forward to 49 and especially 50 reveal next Wednesday, and I hope everybody has a great summer.
All right, thanks, Justin. Up next, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Now, that was a satisfying ending to a lackluster finale. Hello, everybody. This is Jeremiah here. And yeah, in the end, that's kind of how I felt about this finale. I was extremely happy that Kyle won, but the finale itself was just boring to watch, which kind of sums up the second half of the season, at least for me. I did love watching Camilla's comeback on that Final 5 challenge. That was amazing. But then Mitch's exit was probably the most boring fifth exit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yes, we got a little drama during the fire, but who really wants to watch someone who has autism suffer to get through the fire? Now, I will admit, Eva really impressed me in this episode, including her determination to complete the fire challenge. But then that final tribal was so flat. We were all expecting some major drama to be poured out to Joe and Eva when it comes to their whole loyalty thing, and still churning on their allies like David and Shahin, and we really didn't get much at all. Now, the fan theory, of course, is that maybe there was some hot drama, but they shielded it because they're trying to continue this hero edit for Joe because he's going to come back for 50, which is possible, but it is also possible that maybe Camilla had told everyone in Ponderosa what had happened, and they already kind of knew, and they were over it and ready just to give the money to Kyle. It's hard to say what exactly happened there, but I was surprised that we didn't get a lot of discussions from them about those situations. I really wanted Kyle to just bury those guys and talk about how he was controlling them, but it wasn't that. So it was very interesting, and again, kind of boring television, unfortunately. I do think that season 48 is one of the most unique seasons we've had here in the new era. It does kind of have an old school feel to it, which I know we've talked about before. It was filled with a lot of big characters like David and Star, who really don't know how to probably play the game Survivor, but they're entertaining to watch. But you also have cutthroat players like Say and Camilla. But in the end, we wind up with probably the most well-balanced of all the players. Kyle is definitely one of the better players we have seen in a long time. I guess in the end, what I'm saying is, I actually enjoyed this season. I thought pre-merge part of the season was definitely the best part. But in the end, we did get a winner that I was very satisfied, a strategic player who really knew the game. And that made me happy. I definitely like this outcome way better than I would if someone like Joe would have won. But it always comes down to personal preference. I think we're in the era now where people are not happy unless they have to watch someone who struggles a lot and not someone who understood his position and did well throughout the game. Overall, B+ for me for the season. The one player I'd love to see come back is probably Thomas, although maybe Camilla, but definitely Thomas for me. And that's pretty much it for me. You all take care. Once again, thank you so much, Joe and Stacey, for all your hard work on this podcast. And congratulations to our JSFL winner and Lisa, our side challenge winner. And don't forget, everyone, to join that Facebook group where we'll continue these conversations, including, of course, the season 50 cast reveal. And until next season, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Yeah, good point, Jeremiah. That's a great place to discuss the cast reveal for season 50. Thank you so much. Enjoyed your analysis as always. Next up, got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, I'm all over the map about this episode and season. The finale itself was fine, and Kyle was a deserving winner. The season had a few highs and not too many lows, but mostly it was flat. Predictable and very genteel. Kind of strange for a show about a competition for $1 million. My other observations. To vote out Shahin, Kyle tossed an alley-oop to Camilla, who dunked. She must have quite a vertical leap. I just visualized all that. Eva used her idol to put herself into the final four. Who knew there were self-hurting goats? That's great. Yes. When it comes to crossing the goal line, Kyle's bubble butt makes him a natural for the tush push. That's great working all that in. You don't know what that is, do you? The tush push in football?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Oh, no.
No.
In a dance.
Of course, Eva won the challenge advantage. She's a black hole for advantages and idols. They're lucky no birds pooped on the animal plaques. They'd still be trying to solve the puzzle locks. I love how your mind works, dude. Day 1 Mitch wouldn't recognize day 24 Mitch. 24 days of mud and starvation will do that. Like journalism in the Preakness, Camilla came roaring back to win the immunity challenge. Joe burned through his lead and flamed out in the immunity challenge's fire puzzle. That is such an apt description. Were Eva and Camilla raised in a barn? My mom always made me wash up before dinner. They'd tell them not to do that on purpose. I liked Rachel's funeral a lot more than Mitch's. Camilla wanted to be with Kyle at Final Four. Final 3, not so much? There must be a great gym for the jurors. David kept showing off his Ponderosa pump. The jurors, Eva and Joe, were kind of dense. At his vote out, Mitch outed Kyle and Camilla, but no one noticed. Only on season 48 would 2 pairs beat 3 of a kind. That's great. After his 45th confessional in the episode, it became clear that Kyle was getting a winner's edit. This whole season played more like an after-school special than a reality game show. That's so spot on. With one wrist bound and the other arm raised in the air, Kyle's Samotion celebration made him look like the little teapot from the children's song. Eva got her diploma in only 3 years. Big deal. It only took 5 minutes and a credit card to get mine at what'samatoryou.com. Joe couldn't believe he made the final 3. Me neither. I'm not interested in finding new Josh. It's taken decades to learn how to write jokes this bad. Practicing making fires all day really cramped Camilla's style. Eva's meltdowns reminded me of the Incredible Hulk TV show. Mr. McGee wouldn't like me when I'm angry. No one ever wrote Camilla's name. You can't win that way. Kyle is a liar. Kyle is a lawyer. Potato, potato. If Jeff ever steps down as host, his replacement should be Dr. Phil. Oh, please no. Joe's reaction to Eva and Kyle revealing their secrets was straight out of a sitcom. Yeah, just needed a laugh track, didn't it? Who knew the DoorDash offered boat delivery in Fiji? Eva's hidden move, safety without using. At Final Tribal Council, David went full Shatner. Joe's knee reconstruction was 9 months ago. It'll take longer for him to reconstruct his game. That could explain the chicken legs, too. I just thought of that. He definitely skips leg day, but now we know why.
Oh, yeah. You were saying his legs weren't as built up as the rest of him.
Yeah. David unleashed the world's scariest looking knock-knock joke. Did anyone notice that lawyer Kyle wore a jacket for his summation?
We did.
He did notice him putting on that blazer. Mactor David can frown, act goofy, and do his own stunts. The season was his audition tape. Eva carried the most wood and made Jeff cry. That's 2 items crossed off her bucket list. It was nice of the jury to give Joe a participation trophy to make him feel better.
Trophy vote.
It works either way. Survivor pizza was served at the after party. The cast probably regretted voting out Justin so soon. Oh, way to circle. Way to give full circle there. Coconut etiquette and the properly gendered way to drink milk. This season is weird. If season 50's cast is announced next week, season 49 will already feel like an afterthought. Anyway, that's it for me for this season. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. See you in the fall. Thanks, Josh.
Exceptional.
That got my eyes watering here, laughing so much. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on the finale of Survivor 48. Talk show Jeff tells us how we are supposed to view the season, acting as our guide to understand the theme of this boring, boring game. I don't think there was blood on the Shahin vote. There definitely wasn't more blood spilled as the game came to a close, and I don't like being spoon-fed how I'm supposed to react to and understand a season. Right. Well, I only have 3 minutes, and we all saw the same show, so I'm going to skip straight ahead to overall impressions. The edit has been so heavy-handed this season. In the interest of trying to inject suspense into an otherwise very predictable game trajectory, each week the producers and editors gave us episodes in which the end result very often didn't jive with all of the suspense and drama that they chose to show us. And then they did the exact opposite in the finale. The tribal councils were all so boring that in the end I found myself just saying, I don't care who wins right now. I'm usually very happy with the winner or upset about it, kind of as we always are. But for this one, I truly did not care. This season just had such a different feel. Honestly, it felt more like watching fantasy camp where people go to live their dreams, and if that's what people want, that's fine. But you're not describing Survivor the competition show. As an example, Jeff commenting during the fire-making challenge about how Survivor is about people encouraging people in the midst of competition. What? And the final tribal council comments and questions and answers were just all over the place. Everyone losing their minds over the secret lawyer and the secret rocket scientist. I didn't want to go back and review what exactly Star's question was, but I think it was something like, what secret did you keep in the game that was a big deal? And they both answered with, like, their secret profession. I don't understand why that was relevant. If somebody gave a compelling argument as to why they should win, we were not shown that. Kyle, who had the best argument for why he should win, they showed us like the weakest of his arguments. I'm so negative, but I still love this show. Let's move on. I'm going to be more negative now. Here we go. Season 49. Stacey, I agree 100% with what you said about the season 49 clip. The mom on vacation literally said she's a mom on vacation. And I, too, saw several people who looked like I wonder if they're capable of surviving 26 days on Survivor. Mm-hmm. I love this show so much, but I think 49 is just going to be a placeholder for 50. I don't have high hopes. They're announcing the cast for season 50 next week, and it's going to eclipse the whole 49th season. They should not announce the cast for season 50 until the finale of 49. Right. I don't have high hopes, but I'll be here for it. It's still going to be better than almost anything else out on TV. Mm-hmm. I promise to return in the fall with a much better attitude and a much more positive outlook. So until the fall, thank you, Joanna and Stacey, for another great season of podcasting and providing us with a venue to share our love of this crazy game. I can't wait till I see the Jabik Show drop into my podcast feed in the fall. Till then, cheers.
Cheers, Jen. She, in her note with her feedback, she was like, I'm sorry, I'm so negative. I thought, no, I agreed with all the things you were saying. That was great. Love getting her analysis. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here with a lot of long-distance drama going on, but I didn't want to miss the last feedback show, so here we go. We didn't get a chance to watch the episode until later the next day due to a DVR problem, but thanks to the internet, a missed episode is only a delayed episode. So then, as you can imagine, I was thrilled with how it all ended. The only better ending for me would have been a Shahin win because he was my USB. But even if he made it to the final three, I'm not nearly as convinced as he is that he could have won over the jury. He seems like a wonderful guy. He's a great speaker. I have no doubt that he couldn't make a great pitch. But from what I heard, he would have just been trying to inflate his follower gameplay with points that, however eloquently spoken, would have just been exaggerations. As for Camilla, I was sad to see her bow out after the fire-making challenge. I was all about either she or Kyle winning the season, and in all honesty, the two were completely interchangeable to me. Kyle very well may not have gotten to the final three without Camilla, and she wouldn't have lasted as long as she did without Kyle, so in my eyes, they were essentially one and the same. And although it was sad to see Mitch go, he really didn't have much of a resume. He was an extremely likable guy, and he really did begin the season strong, but the wind was let out of his sails when, Charity was voted out. Mm-hmm. He just never seemed to recover. Now, Eva's second place win really did surprise me. I guess her big reveal really spoke to Star and Mary. I've got to say that her hidden talent is to get as much food on her face as in her mouth, because at one point I was struggling to decide if she had less mud on her face or food. Uh-huh. But let's talk about Joe here. We all know I wasn't a huge fan, or even a small fan of his, but if he had won, I would have been fine with it, because he did play as hard and as true to himself as he could. I just don't like people playing this game based on honesty and integrity. If he had won, other new players might try to mimic his faulty gameplay, but I hope that his third place win reveals that you can only get so far by playing that way. And the look on his face when you realize that he was sitting there in the final three with liars on either side of him, well, that was priceless. And if he comes back someday, and that is extremely possible if you ask me, well, I hope he readjusts his gameplay. Now, that said, I full-heartedly believe that I actually owe Joe a debt of gratitude for his loyal gameplay, because in the end, it brought us to a final three that I had no clue who would win. There were no goats, just strong players who all proved themselves out there. And yeah, it has been a long time since we've seen a final three that was that strong and unpredictable. And that's largely because Joe wanted to get to the end with players that were worthy of being there. But I don't like seeing the reigning alliance slide on by episode after episode, all the while clapping themselves on the back for having a tight alliance all throughout the game. As I've said before, I'm always about the underdog. So the season in general, to me, started out very strong. but then it petered out towards the end due to players not following through with what they should have done to allow themselves to get to the end of the game. But that last episode really came in strong for me because I just had no clue what to expect. Normally it's between two players, if even that at all, but this time I saw them all as possible winners, which made the season end on a high note for me. So, congratulations, Kyle. You did it. And that's it here for me. I know I haven't updated the roster yet, but I will later on tonight when I can sit down some. Again, thanks, Joanne and Stacy, and everyone who participates in the feedback shows. Each of your voices brings a smile to my face every week, and lately I've been needing that smile. Joanne and Stacy, please enjoy your time off. I hope you get some peace and quiet, and I guess I'll end this here with a bye and an over and out.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thinking about you, Paul.
Yeah, every day. Well, we are at the end. Any last thoughts on season?
Okay.
Any last thoughts on season 48? I was just taking it all in. Sorry.
I know you were. Last thoughts. I can imagine a thing I haven't said. There was something. What was it? Oh, I know. So when someone mentioned that, they should have altered the dots on the animal plaques.
Some Thomas would do.
Or added.
Yeah.
They said add it, and I thought, because then my mind started tripping. How would you add it? How would you get it on there and do it good? I thought, no, you got to get something sharp and take some off.
Right.
That would be a lot easier to take it off.
Pull one, put it in another.
And put some dirt in it or something.
Just smush it down. Yeah. We'll probably close the hole. It was pliable enough to accept that little tack, so you could probably make it look like it wasn't there.
You think you could have gotten away with even if you just rubbed dirt over some things or made it harder to read once you left,
Yeah.
Oh, it's just how my mind worked. But
something that popped into my head when we were listening to Paul was that in the exit interviews, we got some more information on why they felt like they couldn't make moves at the end with Star. And Camilla would tell Star something, and then Star would go and share it with Joe and Eva, and then Kyle would hear it, and then he would go back to Camilla. And so when Mitch kept saying, you can't trust Star, he can't trust Star, he can't make a move with her, that's part of what that was, because they were sharing that with Mitch too. And that was part of everybody's apprehension. That kind of undid things, losing the trust that way. You didn't want to try to plan a blind side when you got a mole like that.
And yet I'm not sure that anyone really understood what was really going on and how that information was getting out there. But that was a huge advantage for each of them being in the know on opposite sides.
Right. And they did say, I think someone else covered it, but they did confirm that we saw just about every one of their interactions. That's how little they interacted.
Oh, wow.
In their Secrets and Lies alliance.
That's all there was to show.
Right. Well, and that made me think that's probably a lot of, like people were saying, once you had David and Joe and Eva so committed, David more committed, he was only matched in commitment by Eva. Joe was willing to get rid of David, but so committed to this strong alliance, so committed to the honesty and integrity as the way that we should do it to get there. It kind of put the brakes on everything. And so maybe, there really wasn't a lot more to show, because when you undermine the game with a goal like that, and you get enough people committed to it, and Shahin's like, oh, sure, I can commit to this because I know I'll derail this train when it's most advantageous for me. So he throws in on it, and then Kyle gets all wishy-washy. He can't make up his mind, playing the margins or however you want to frame it.
Do you think that Joe or Shahin told Kyle that Shahin was in the number 3 spot, or you just think he sussed that out on his own? Because that was good observation.
Kyle
to know
sussed that out on his own, I believe.
That he wasn't
that was
3.
his competition.
Shahin was.
Yes, and that he was basically
number
playing
4, unless he won the fire.
Playing a game of chicken against him. Yeah. So that's where all that came from. I think the other thing was that I guess Mary and Eva were really close. They didn't show us any of that, but Eva said that in her exit interviews that she spent a lot of time with Eva. She spent a lot of time with Camilla talking about food. But she had a really good connection with Mary, and so I think that's where the Mary vote came from. That helped me understand the Mary vote a little more, because I was kind of disappointed to see that, because I was pretty sure that Mary understood the game better than that. But yeah, anyway, you never know how people are going to vote. That's why it's exciting at the end.
Yes, but at least Mary was just there for Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I'm happy 48's done. I'm happy moving on from 48. I started trying to think, now what's a more positive way? I was negative when I saw that 49 clip. They showed a shipwreck, and I was thinking, oh no, it's a shipwreck of a season. And I thought, no, reframe that. Yeah, no, it's sunken treasure. That's what 49's going to be. That's how I'm looking forward to.
Gotta dig deep and look for that treasure.
Oh, okay, Probst. But I'm reframing 49 as sunken treasure. There's gold there.
Hidden treasure.
You just got to dive for it, to your point. Yeah.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and let's face it, it's Survivor.
And yeah, we got this
good, bad, but whatever. We'll still talk about it.
We're blessed with this community. We're not a big community, but we've got this place where we come talk about our favorite show, and we get to learn from each other so much. And so I want to say a big thank you to everybody who contributed to all the listener feedback shows. It was a blast putting those together and getting to hear from all of you and benefiting from your perspective on life and different things that you know, that's something that others of us aren't familiar with. All that. Appreciate you putting that energy in and sharing. Thanks to everybody who took the time, especially to pull together here for the finale. What a big finale listener feedback
and on
show.
a holiday weekend too.
And we enjoyed hearing what you thought about the season. Some people totally loved it. Others not so much. All of that is good stuff. We really enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from all of you. We want to say a big thanks to Ed and Hope and Michelle for your donations. Thank you so much. We deeply appreciate your generosity and your support.
And as always, we want to thank Paul for creating the JSFL logo and the roster for this season. Also, a big thanks to Steve for creating and maintaining the JSFL website for us to enjoy.
Brings a lot of joy.
Lastly, a big thanks to Jeremiah for running the Facebook fans page.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast is a community, and we appreciate everyone who contributes to it, truly. And once again, I'd like to say congratulations to Todd in Texas on winning JSFL this season with 110 points, and to Lisa Rae for winning the side challenge. And again, she has chosen the song Stuck in the Middle with You by Steelers Will for Johnny to use to sing the parody he will prepare for us, and we will hear that in the Jabbit Part 2 in September. Anything else, bud?
We hope you all have a great summer. We look forward to getting back together again in September for season 49.
Be safe, everybody.
Have a good one.